Paul Gluck has done it all and now teaches it to the next generation of broadcasters. He's amassed an impressive resume in the realms of commercial, educational, and academic broadcasting. Currently an associate professor in the School of Media and Communications at Temple University, Gluck is also the head of the Temple University television station TUTV. Previous to joining Temple, Paul was the executive director of the Cal and Lucille Rudman Institute for Entertainment Industry Studies at Drexel University. He's been a vice president and station manager of WHYY, the leading public broadcasting stations in the greater Philadelphia region, where he was responsible for daily program operations and all program content and development for WHYY's broadcast services, including radio, television, and their internet service. At WHYY, he had also been executive director of news and public affairs. Paul began his career at KYW-TV as a production assistant and was later employed as an executive producer at WJZ in Baltimore. He had a stint at WCAU-TV in Philadelphia as news director. He returned to KYW-TV as executive news editor and was later promoted to news director. Gluck, a multiple Emmy Award winner, has also produced documentaries and served as a consultant for local media outlets. Paul is a native of Philadelphia, having attended Community College of Philadelphia and received his bachelor's degree in journalism from Temple University. Paul has recently completed his second term as a trustee of the countrywide National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. He served for 6 years on the board of directors of the Broadcast Pioneers of Philadelphia, spending 4 of those years as vice president. He's also served on the scholarship committee for 10 years and continues to do so. Please join us in welcoming Paul Gluck into the Broadcast Pioneers Hall of Fame.
Good evening. It's always good to see your hairline recede and your waist grow on video. Giant talking potato with glasses. Wonderful imagery. First, my congratulations to the other honorees. I have history with some of them. Wherever Fred Ficky's family is, where are you? I loved your father. When it came time to interview presidents, I took your father 3 times across this country. Where's Marazzo? He hasn't seen the expense account yet, has he? Okay, good. Bill? All right, fine. But your father meant tons to me. Ron Tendelia gave me, let's hear it for Ronnie, if you remember Ronnie, wherever his family is. Ronnie gave me news director boot camp. Eric Ober was kind enough to designate me news director at Channel 10 before I understood where the men's room was. And thank God I didn't, because apparently Goldstein and Kravitz were always in there. But usually, in many station groups, when the vice president for news comes, everybody gets scared, you get dressed up, you go to an expensive restaurant. Ronnie always said to me, God forgive him and me, he would sit there with his Lucky Strike and a can of what he called regulation Coca-Cola, Coke Classic, and he'd go, Paulie, let's go to McDonald's. I learned how to be a news director at the McDonald's at City in Haverford. Next to a genius. Ron Tendelia was a genius. Look, I could tell you tons about my life, but what I've discovered is every time I take my fate into my own hands, there is a giant mess. It is a sitcom in the writing. There should be a donor wall for my life because others have given so much to me. I want to spend a minute or two talking about them. If you know me, you know I could talk about me for hours. I'm quite in love with me. If my interns back there laugh, you're dead. By the way, just to get this out of our system, Temple, can I hear it for Temple? Louder! All right. The idea, thank you, Tracy. Tracy's Temple. Look, in this room, there are people who have changed my life and people who have saved my life. With one word, Eileen Margaret Gluck saved my life. The word was yes. The day that I came up from WJZ in Baltimore, determined that she was going to marry me, no matter what she thought she was going to do. And on the Art Museum steps one day in December of 1977, she said yes. It is both a romantic story and a tribute to what drugs can do if you administer them properly. That woman has saved my life every day for 38 years. Let's hear it for her. Come on, she deserves it. My children are here, Matthew and Christopher. If you have a great career, it becomes a distraction when you really have children, because they've taught me how to be a man. They taught me how to be a father. They teach me every day by example what it means to be a man in this century, and I love them. I love my daughters-in-law. Yes, Kimberly. Yes, Kristen. I love you. I love our grandchildren, Connor, Lucas, Mason. I don't have 10 minutes to myself, but how many Jews go to hockey? It's like I'm in hockey all the time, all right? But then I get frostbite. But still, for my kids, anything. And also, there's some furry friends in my life. Rocky, Roscoe, Coco, Ralph, Rosie. But why Matthew named a dog after his great-grandmother is beyond me. But all right, so I'll get to the point here. At 1719 West Venango Street, 2 miles from my desk at Temple, there is a gravel plot. Every once in a while, and I don't tell my family, I take the subway up there and walk around, because that's the place where the first house in which I lived used to stand. The screaming, yelling, loving, ashtray-throwing people that filled that house were my family. Crazy, smart, caring. Here's what I learned from my parents. You owe everybody something. Give somebody something. Don't keep it all for yourself. I also learned to duck when the ashtrays started flying. The way my great-grandmother expressed love for my great-grandfather was to throw an ashtray while she yelled, "George, you son of a bitch." If I know anything about drone dynamics, it is from ducking a glass six-sided cut ashtray. And I do know that. But Minerva and Sam Gluck, God rest their souls, gave me every tool I needed if I didn't screw up my life, and I am indebted to them forever. There are other people who have done that for me. Lou Klein did. And sometimes he doesn't believe me when I tell him, but as I built a career, I cannot express to you how often in the back of my head was, what did Lou do? How would Lou handle this? Even when I was afraid to call Lou and ask. But you know something? He's been the greatest mentor that you could possibly imagine. Let's hear it for him. And not to me, but to generations in this business. I need to thank the late Scott Goodfellow. Anybody from the Channel 3 family who knew Scott, he was our assistant news director. He gave me my first job in television. In February of 1976, I walked into Channel 3's red brick bunker on Independence Mall. As usual, forgive me, Channel 3 family, it was in disarray. There was a new general manager because it was Tuesday, and don't laugh, Margaret, you need the job. But, and surprise, I had a succession of GMs who came from another town, did no research, and knew how to fix the problem. Channel 6 should be paying me for the contributions I made at Channel 3. Either way, I walked in the door and I met the legends right there. I met Vince Leonard and Mort Krim and Jessica and Al Meltzer and Bill Custer. But I also, Scott Goodfellow, Dave Neal. I want to see hands for anybody whose career was touched by Dave Neal. Dave Neal is in this august body. He is in our memories. He is in our hearts. I never met a more creative television producer or a more interesting man than Dave Neal. I have thanks that I owe to so many people. To Alan Sabinson at Drexel for taking a chance on me when I had never been a teacher. Thank you, Drexel. To Betsy Lebron for a very strange phone call one day. It said, what exactly are you doing at Drexel? We might have an opportunity here. And 24 minutes later, I was faculty at Temple University. But their standards are better than you imagine, okay? I owe my thanks to Betsy. I owe thanks to everybody at Table 33 for a contribution to my life. Our dean, David Boardman, I get to work for a Pulitzer Prize winner, which intimidates me every day of the week, but he's a hell of a boss. And I'm not saying that because I need the job. I really could go on Social Security. Don Heller put a door on my office when no other faculty member has one. I thank him. It's like a barn there. But, I look at what Temple does, and I think to myself, the greatest schools I attended, Community College of Philadelphia accepted me when no one else would. All right? I could have gone anywhere till they saw my SATs. 2 years at Community, I found focus in my life. 2 more years at Temple, and I found opportunity, and I found mentors, and I found a path to something useful, I thought, or at least I've tried to. With all my love to the academic alma maters, the greatest school I ever attended is a school David Murphy and Margaret Cronin attended, WJZ-TV in Baltimore. I cannot begin to tell you in the strange, it was as though Venango Street had moved 2 states away. The screaming, the love, the yelling, but the idea that we were very young and had a lot of resources despite working for Westinghouse made it perhaps the place where I learned how. Anybody here a Group W victim? Who worked for Westinghouse? Can you still raise your hands? The scars have healed? Group W was one of those companies, by the way, they bought CBS and then they got eaten by CBS. But they were a company that treated visitors better than family, but it was the best boot camp in American television. It was a very straightforward deal. Here's $50, go do a $1,000 show. And Kathleen and I are both veterans of that. Group W, my time at Channel 3 was priceless to me. I worked there 3 times. It's obvious I can't keep a job from this video. But I worked there 3 times, and I learned something new each and every time, including taking my friend Yuki to Baltimore for his anchor audition. Hey, Batman. That was audition. He actually said the words, "I'm Batman." And we made him an anchor at Channel 3. Why wouldn't you? Channel 10 was kind of a finishing school in the CBS O&O days. I learned what it meant to field a big team and attack big stories, and that was priceless as well. WHYY gave me opportunity I never thought I'd have in my career to do stories of depth and length and relevance to our community and to work with spectacular intellects like Marty Moscoian, one of our honorees tonight. Yes, applaud for Marty, for God's sake. To be there on 9/11, I was unsure of what we could accomplish because I had come from commercial news, but with fewer resources and better minds, they did an extraordinary job. I'm proud that I was there to do the news on one of the worst days in our history. I look around and I wonder what's next. I'm not done. I just siphon adrenaline from that table back there. I cannot. Stand up. Stand up, you little morons. Come on. They are the future. They understand that you can forget solar, you can forget nuclear. Adrenaline is the next power source. Thank you all. Good night.